In all these small letters, there are some hidden messages that I'm here to explain to you and find out what's the best to go for your artifacts. Hello gang, welcome to the channel, and today we're gonna go through a video about artifacts. We haven't talked about them for a really long time, but here we are to go through each stat, which one you should get for PvE, which one you should get for PvP, what's must have, and the difference between equipping a 6-star, a 3-star, what artifacts are must have, not one by one, but a generally opinion on the stats you should go and focus on, picking on specific characters, what impact they have into your gameplay, and try to calm down your FOMO about getting 6-star artifacts or generally getting artifacts. Yeah, before we go through that, guys, I want you to make sure that you have smashed the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can get all the awesome content we're dropping, community posts, live streams, shorts, videos, everything, and we can go through with content for our favorite game, Marvel Future Fight. Also, hit me down below in the comments what's the artifact you're working on to reroll, or something that you're aiming from the next token event, or something that you want to get from a selector. Let me know your opinion. I'm gonna share my personal experience lately with artifacts, and yes, I'm gonna show you also all my characters for ABX and ABL, what I'm aiming for, what options I'm aiming for to reroll my artifacts, what's the impact, and small details that you'd actually ignoring because, you know, game is not actually giving us information about them. So let's try to go through all the characters I'm using for ABL and ABX and what artifacts I have on them and why I'm picking the specific options for them. These characters are specifically for ABX and ABL, and the value on the option is kind of big, but yeah, doesn't really matter a lot. So as you can see on my gladiator, I'm having order, which is the proper instinct of the character, and also I have critical damage. Critical damage is one of the options that give you the most value for PvE and specifically for ABL and ABX. Another options that they're, you know, are really important and you could go and aim for, it's concentration or critical damage done. There is increased critical rate, yeah, critical rate and critical damage. I have already the critical damage, and the critical rate is also really important. These three only, critical rate, critical damage, and concentration, are the one you should aim for every ABL and ABX character. The rest of the things here, like deal enemies with evil, deal enemies with leadership, you know, has no value for ABL and ABX specific, but also for PvE. There is no other for PvE having any value right now, except perhaps the accuracy, but you know, if you have your character tier 4, you probably have better leveling from the enemy on the PvE, so you're gonna get the maximum out of it without the accuracy. So critical damage, critical rate, and concentration. Concentration is going to help you with all of your CDPs. If you have a CDP equipped and it's crafted, it says that you get an extra bonus depending on your concentration. Concentration you can also find in your swords, so combine the concentration from your artifacts and the swords, you're gonna get a bigger number here, so more value for your mighty CDP. After concentration, you're choosing critical rate and critical damage for obvious reason, you know, the numbers you are dropping from your instinct, they're getting multiplied by 5% and depending on the instinct you have. As you can see here, I have a 5-star artifact on this character and my total instinct is 3950 with a 5-star artifact and the proper order here. I have get critical damage, so I keep it. For my Wanda, I have 3-star artifact. So let me check here how much instinct I have, and it's 3600. So as you notice, the difference is not that big. So having a 3-star artifact compared to a 5-star artifact, same leveling, as you can see, the artifact I have, it's 11 and 11, you only get 300. And the moment you go from level 80 to tier 4, you're getting like 3000. So yeah, even if you have this artifact or this artifact, the difference between the effect is going to be bigger only because of the passive ability. It's not gonna matter because you're gonna have way more order or something like this. As you can see, most of the artifacts have an extra value here, but you have to consider that for PvE specifically and ABL and ABX, no artifact is must have. All the artifacts also giving you some value. Cable's artifact is like a small CTP of raids, but yeah, generally speaking, you're not gonna say that you can't play PvE because you're missing an artifact. These damages here just adds up and are not unlocking a specific new future for your characters. The only artifacts actually doing that are the PvP artifacts with immortality, the PvP artifacts with extra guarding dodge rate like Spider-Man's, like Wolverine's, the immortality, and the supportive. So we're gonna go through these artifacts. Let me go through all the characters I have for ABL and ABX, and you can see I'm aiming from the proper instinct and also critical damage, concentration, critical damage, concentration, and yes, that's the only thing I need to reroll, but it's something recent I equipped, so yeah, I didn't have the 6 stars. Concentration. For Ghost Rider specifically, he has also an immortality artifact, so this is like a PvP way of things, like I told you. So for PvE, ABL, ABX, critical rate, critical damage, concentration, or no value for these bosses. So let's go through PvP and let's figure out what's the best to go for it. For the artifacts of the PvP that I'm talking about are artifacts like Wolverines, like Adam Warlock's. Adam Warlock also is not must have his artifact. His artifact adds an HP, a heal actually. But for characters like Wolverine, is either you have this CTP or your character suck big time. You need to have this thing, you know, the immortality, and specifically for Wolverine and all the immortality character, the bigger the artifact is, the more the seconds of immunity you have. As you can see here, I'm getting a 5 seconds of immunity. But yeah, I can't. Okay, 6 seconds of immunity. It was my mouse over the number. 6 seconds of immunity with the 5-star, and this effect, the heal effect, adds up cause of my instinct. So the 6 is standard. The more you have, the more immortality. The more time you're gonna have immortality, and these artifacts are really useful and make the character from 0 to hero. The same artifact is for Hela, same artifact is for Madeline Pryor, Carnage, and there is multiple others. The OG character having this is now, but he has it as a passive ability. The rest that took them, like Magic, Mr. Sinister, are extra on the artifact. These artifacts are really important to have it on a high level and actually have the artifacts. So you can see from now that PvE, it's completely, you don't care a lot about your artifact. You're adding some damage for sure, but for PvP, you must have the artifact on a high level, or else you can't go and compete with 3-star immortality artifact on your Wolverine. You're gonna have immortality for like 3 seconds and after you're busted, you know? So the artifacts for PvP, and specifically the ones with immortality, it's the most important thing on the game for PvP only. If you don't have them, you're busted. Stat wise here, you want to choose something between pierce reduction or concentration also. You can see here there is decrease and emission. No, where is it? Okay, I'm blind. decrease additional pierce damage received by 9%. So this stat here is really good for PvP. This 9% comes and adds up to the concentration decrease, the pierce decrease that you already have, and also the more instinct you have, the more pierce reduction it's going to happen when you are going to attack to the enemies. So if the enemy has like 25% pierce, you're gonna have reduction on the damage the enemy doing to you. So helps a ton for PvP. Of course, concentration also helps, and of course for PvP, these buffs works fine. Leadership characters are like Sentry, you know, Sentry is the meta right now. Others are like, yeah, I can't remember right now, but I'm sure there is some more leadership characters right now in the PvP meta. Sentry is the best one, so you can have more damage against, you know, Sentry. Availability characters are like Thanos, like Carnage, but yeah, I don't feel like it's really important. Right now, concentration also gonna add up on your mighty CTP, you know, mighty grid or whatever. You can use also increase critical damage decrease, actually, instant critical damage decrease, but yeah, it's not a big deal. You don't wanna go through this. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really matter. Pierce, concentration, or something between these two. Leadership right now has the most value. So every single time, pierce reduction, concentration, or perhaps damage against leadership or damage against evil. Or else you're not getting a lot of value. But for this specific artifact, I would tell you just get the artifact, get the proper order here so you can heal up way more. And you're gonna be fine. As I told you, Wolverine is an example, but there is a lot of examples. There is also Hela, that I also have the artifact. Here is a perfect PvP example. Decrease additional pierce damage by 8%, and also you have 5 seconds of immunity with a 4-star artifact. So yeah, it's really cool. And also the other artifact I told you, it's the artifact of Quicksilver, Spider-Man. I think Maya Lopez also has a similar. And this artifact provides to specific characters. This is not like must-have. Actually, it's a must-have. If you want to play, you know, for PvP also in a very high level, you can't have your Spider-Man without this artifact, because this artifact here adds a special extra layer on the dodge you're having. When you're having a character, your character has a stat here called dodge. So you have 75%. At the first place, you have 75% enemy miss his damage and you get dodge. You're avoiding the attack. Also, before that, the games throw some dice, and his passive ability for guarding dodge rate by 25% counts first. It's not like the 25% and the 75% adds up. But give me a break here. Listen to that. We're starting. The enemy is attacking you. You have the guarding, a 25% dodge rate. And let's say the enemy managed to hit you. After the second layer, it's dodge. You have like 75% to dodge the attack. Okay, again, dices, you know, and the enemy again comes to attack you. Now the third layer of defense pop out for you, and you have even more chance to dodge. It's a third dodge in your build. So yeah, the enemy need to be really lucky, or you should be, I could say you have to be unlucky. If the enemy one-shot you, you know, you have 3 chances to go for the enemy and miss. There is no other artifact in my mind, you know. Yeah, it's also Adam Warlock and the characters that have some healing through the here, you know, he has healing, auto heal, or else he doesn't have. But yeah, generally speaking, as I told you, pierce reduction, you can see here, same instinct. You can also use concentration, because as you can see here, the abuse ability on the mighty grid, on vitality of brilliant egg. Let me show you here. As you can see, you get extra heal by an amount of your concentration. So as soon as you have on your artifact concentration, you're getting an extra bump on your concentration here. This 3.2 is from my swords. I need to bump it, to be honest. It's kind of low. I just saw that, but yeah, you can see how it goes. Of course, I don't really reroll my 6-star artifacts. It's really hard to find 6 stars and go through this rerolling thing. It's really hard to go. But you know, if you have some spare, concentration is going to help you in most of the times for PvP and PvE. Gonna add up on your crafted CDPs. That's for PvP. So there is some must-have, but also there is some easy skips. And the third thing, and the most important perhaps, is the artifacts that provide the buff to your whole team. These artifacts is really sneaky, and you can misunderstand the typing here, but this applies to all superhero allies. There is others applies to all allies. An example is Valkyries. Let's take another example. Actually, yeah, Valkyrie was way too far. And an example is Ronan. Ronan as a support, he can't go and support for ABL Day of Alien Gladiator because most of his skills, passive abilities, leadership and passive ability actually from his uniform. The leadership here, it's only for universal type. So Gladiator already have his own leadership. You don't already need Ronan, but this buff here, it's only for universal type allies. So your Ronan can support your Gladiator only if you have this artifact. But the point is that this artifact stacked to your instinct on the main DPS character you have. Yeah, so you're getting here 16%. The 16% here does not count the instinct you have, counts the instinct your ally have. So the better the artifacts you have are and the more instinct your characters have, like let's say my Wanda here, when I'm going and put a character next to her, the instinct, it's going to count. So it's gonna be 16% plus a percentage of her instinct. And you can actually prove this for you actually using an artifact that provides ignored dodge. Ignored dodge, it's something that I think Coulson provides. So let me show you. So let's say that we have this team up here. His artifact provides to all allies 9% dodge plus a percentage of the instinct. So if we go through Wanda right now, we're gonna figure out that she has ignored dodge 44.3%. If I remove Coulson from the group, let's say we put Loki on his place, you're gonna see that my Wanda now is going to have 28%. So I went from 28% ignored dodge plus the instinct plus the artifact, and I went through like 16% ignored dodge from 9%, which is the first layer. You know, the character provides as you can see here 9%. I bumped it through my instinct by 7%. The same thing works for boss type damage. It's smaller percentage, but if you have 5 here, I guess you're gonna get 8% total damage. So for these artifacts, it's the only artifact after Wolverine's artifact, after Hela's artifact, Adam Warlock's artifact, and mainly the PvP artifacts, the only thing that boosts your PvE performance. So if you wanna play and be good on ABL and ABX, you don't care a lot about the artifacts of the main DPSs. You care for sure because the 6-star gonna provide you better instinct, but as you saw in the start of the video, if you have a 3-star compared to a 5-star, the difference it's like 300. So it's not a big deal having small artifacts or big artifacts. The point is having artifacts with the same instinct so you can get boosted through the support characters you're gonna use. And guys, the support characters are no joke. There is Satana, there is Coulson, there is Valkyrie, there is Mubaku, there is Nick Fury, there is Ronan, as I told you before. There are multiple characters doing that, and if you go through ABL and ABX days, you're using these characters multiple times. And what I was saying is that you can see now Scarlet Witch has 44.3631, so she gets indeed 16%. But let's figure out what my Gladiator is getting. My Gladiator with that has 54.9, and if I remove Coulson here again, he gonna go through 38. So it's 16.9 compared to 16. 16.9 compared to 16, and I have a 5-star artifact on my Gladiator and a 3-star artifact on my Wanda. So it's not a big deal. The buff you're getting from Coulson, it's the important thing, and the bigger artifacts you have on these characters, you don't care to level them up, you know, one level here. Whatever I add here, the total outcome comes from the main damage dealer. So you care about having really bumped artifacts only for your characters here. Of course, as I told you, you know, you could go for the 6-star and get like 20% here. It's gonna be a 10% extra, and the percentage here is gonna be better, etc, etc. But with this character, you're gonna add to your Wanda, you're gonna add to your Magneto, you're gonna add on your Luna. This character here, Coulson, and all the other support characters that provide an artifact like this, gonna add on all over your account, on all over ABX and ABL days, and gonna help you a ton. For these specific characters, concentration is the best case scenario, because your concentration gonna add up on your Mighty Insight buff you're getting. And the Mighty Insight having exactly the same effect for, with the concentration or not. Insight does not add up on concentration. Okay, I thought it was added, so doesn't really matter what you're going to have on your characters, because it's a stable effect that doesn't change you know, depending on your instinct. I thought there is a concentration layer here, as there is for the most CDPs, you know, but yeah, as it seems they didn't, yeah, you know, like this, but yeah, there's nothing. So yeah, it doesn't really matter for them, yeah. I hope I helped you progress through all this information on the artifacts. I hope I didn't confuse you more, but yeah. First of all, PvE, concentration, critical damage, critical rate, it's the only that have value. ABL, ABX especially, only this true. There is the decreased damage taken from boss types for World Boss Legend, but yeah, doesn't really matter. Concentration, piece reduction, really important for PvP. The PvP artifacts are must-have, like Wolverines and stuff like that. Also, the support artifacts is really important to have them into huge value, you know, 6-star, 5-star, 4-star, because they're adding in all over your account, and the addition on the buffs you're getting depending on your own character. Let me know also down below in the comments if I dropped any information that you didn't know already, if you just learned something and I helped you decide what you're gonna do with your artifacts. I did enjoy it. Hope you enjoyed also. See you into the next. Kisses in your faces.